Ever wonder how we got from paying a nickel to watch a little flickering image on a wall to the insane, immersive experiences we have in theaters today? Well, it's quite a story. We're going to take a trip back in time to see how the movie theater was born and how it went from a humble storefront novelty into a literal palace for the masses.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1905. You're sitting on a hard, uncomfortable wooden bench. It's crowded. The only sounds you hear are the constant, loud whir of the projector behind you and a piano player who's banging away, trying to add a little drama to the silent pictures on screen. That was the movie theater. I mean, it's a universe away from the reclining seats and Dolby sound we're used to, right? But this is exactly where our story has to begin.
You see, before 1905, movies were kind of like a traveling circus act. You might catch one at a fairground or a vaudeville show, but then this thing called the Nickelodeon came along, and it gave moving pictures their very first permanent home. This really kicked off the whole era of the 5-cent show.
And the name, Nickelodeon, well, it tells you everything you need to know. Nickel, of course, for the 5-cent price to get in, and Odeon, which is just the old Greek word for a roofed theater. It was simple, it was cheap, and honestly, it was completely revolutionary.
Just how revolutionary? Get this. Within just a few years of the first one opening, there were about 8,000 of them all across the United States. It was an explosion. This was what they called the democratic theater, a place where literally anyone, no matter how rich or poor, no matter what language you spoke, could come and experience the magic of movies for just a single nickel.
But here's the funny thing. This incredible success actually created a huge new problem for the movie industry. Their ambitions were getting way, way bigger than what a nickel could buy. And that humble little storefront theater, well, it had some serious limits.
And let's be real about what that experience was actually like. We're talking about tiny, cramped, converted storefronts. They were often loud, stuffy, and not exactly clean. And the movies? They were just 10-minute little flickers, super simple stories, or maybe a newsreel. It was a cool novelty, for sure, but it wasn't what you'd call a luxurious night out on the town.
So the industry had this big question on its hands. Filmmakers were starting to create longer, more sophisticated movies. So how could they justify charging more than 5 cents? And maybe even more importantly, how could they shed this lowbrow reputation and start attracting a middle class or even a wealthy audience?
The answer, it turned out, was genius. You stop selling just a movie and you start selling an entire experience. And this vision is what gave birth to the magnificent movie palace, the original super theater.
This whole new era was driven by incredible showmen, guys like Samuel Roxy Rothafel. His whole philosophy was simple but so powerful. He said, provide the people with the best and they will pay for it. He just got it. He knew the secret wasn't just what was on the screen, but the whole world you built around it.
And that was the game changer. Suddenly, you weren't just buying a ticket to a film. No, you were buying a ticket to a palace. It was a brief, affordable escape into a world of luxury where absolutely anyone could feel like royalty for an evening. And to create that feeling, they literally built fantasies out of brick and mortar. So let's step inside one of these dream palaces from the Roaring '20s.
Architects basically took two different paths to create this magic. First, you had the atmospheric style, which made you feel like you were sitting in some exotic outdoor courtyard, with twinkling electric stars on the ceiling and projected clouds drifting by. And then you had the standard style, which was just pure over-the-top opulence. We're talking massive crystal chandeliers, marble columns, grand staircases. Either way, they were designed to make your jaw drop.
And the experience went so far beyond the amazing architecture. Ushers in perfect uniforms would guide you to your seat like you were a visiting dignitary. There were on-site nurseries so parents could have a night out, luxurious smoking rooms for the men, and these incredibly elaborate powder rooms for the women. Every single detail was designed to make the average person feel like a millionaire.
You know, ultimately, these theaters served a really important social function. They were, as one historian perfectly put it, a social safety valve. It was a place where people could escape the grime and the noise of the industrial city and just step into a world of beauty and fantasy for a couple of hours. It truly was an affordable palace for everyone.
This golden age really hit its peak in the late 1920s, but its legacy completely transformed cinema forever, and you can still feel its echoes today.
This timeline really shows you the dramatic rise and fall. It all starts with that Nickelodeon boom in 1905. By 1913, the first real movie palaces start popping up, which leads to that golden age of construction in the 20s. But then, the Great Depression hits hard, and later, the rise of television in the 1950s was really the final nail in the coffin. These grand, expensive palaces just weren't sustainable anymore, and the Golden Age, sadly, came to a close.
But the great, lasting legacy of the movie palace is this incredibly simple but profound idea. The venue itself, the building, the experience, had become just as important as the film on the screen. The act of going to the movies was now part of the show.
And that really leaves us with a big question for today, doesn't it? In an age where we can stream almost any movie imaginable right from our own couch, does that palace still matter? Is the experience of where we watch still as important as what we watch? It's something to think about next time you hit play.